In the mid-90s, when the Premier League was still finding its feet and Manchester United looked destined to dominate, something extraordinary happened. Blackburn Rovers, bankrolled by a local steel magnate and powered by a strike force that terrified defenders, rose from the old second division to become champions of England. For the first time since 1914. It wasn't just unlikely, it was seismic. Led by Kenny Dalglish, and fueled by the goals of Alan Shearer and Chris Sutton, Blackburn's 1994-1995 title win was one of the greatest underdog stories the Premier League has ever seen. This was before oil money, before global superclubs, a proper football club from a Lancashire mill town, upsetting the balance of power. In this video, we're rewinding back to that iconic season to find out where are they now. From title-winning heroes and cult figures to unsung squad members and backroom staff, we're tracking down the men who brought the Premier League trophy to Ewood Park. This is Retro Football Club, and this is the story of Blackburn Rovers, Premier League champions. Before we kick off, to make sure this video doesn't run until next season, we'll be giving a full profile for all the key players who featured regularly that year. But for those who made fewer than 10 league appearances, we'll include a quick roundup of where they ended up towards the end of the video. In the 1994-95 season, Tim Flowers was the last line of defence for Blackburn Rovers, and one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. Signed from Southampton for a then British record fee for a keeper, Flowers brought commanding presence, sharp reflexes, and a booming voice to the Blackburn back line. He kept 15 clean sheets that season, playing a huge part in Rovers clinching the title on the final day. His performances earned him a spot in England's Euro '96 squad, and he remained Blackburn's number one for several more seasons. After leaving Ewood Park in 1999, Flowers had a 3-year spell with Leicester City, before short spells with Stockport County, Coventry City and Manchester City, before retiring in 2003. Post-retirement, he moved into coaching and management, initially working as a goalkeeping coach at Leicester City, Manchester City and Queen's Park Rangers. He then stepped up to assistant and caretaker roles, including a stint as assistant manager at Northampton Town. In recent years, he's taken on several managerial posts in the lower leagues. He managed Stafford Rangers, Solihull Moors, Macclesfield Town, Barnet, Stratford Town, Gloucester City, Bromsgrove Sporting, Redditch United, and currently, Alvechurch. Though results have varied, he's carved out a solid career as a coach in non-league and EFL circles. At 35 years old, Tony Gale wasn't brought in to be a regular starter during Blackburn's title-winning season. He was there for experience and depth. Having just left West Ham United, after a decade of service, Gale joined Rovers on a free transfer in 1994, and made 15 league appearances in that historic campaign. While he wasn't a central figure on the pitch, Gale's experience in the dressing room added leadership to a young, ambitious squad. He left Blackburn at the end of the season and signed for Crystal Palace, but departed after making 2 first-team appearances, before retiring with non-league side Maidenhead United in 1999. Post-retirement, Tony Gale transitioned straight into media work, where he became a familiar voice and face on Sky Sports, particularly during their Soccer Saturday and Monday Night Football coverage. Known for his humour and West Ham bias, he carved out a niche as a relaxed, fan-friendly pundit. Away from TV, Gale has also taken on roles behind the scenes in football. He served as chairman of non-league club Walton Casuals, helping steer their development before they folded in 2022. Graeme Lasso was one of Blackburn's most consistent performers in their title-winning season, a modern fullback ahead of his time. Intelligent on the ball and relentless going forward, he brought energy and width down the left, making 39 league appearances during the campaign. Signed from Chelsea in 1993, Lasso's technical quality and work rate quickly made him a key part of Kenny Dalglish's plans. He also earned regular England call-ups and was part of the World Cup '98 squad, cementing his place among the best left-backs in the country. After the title win, Lasso famously got into a fight on the field with teammate David Batty in a UEFA Champions League game with Spartak Moscow, which saw both men sent off. He then returned to Chelsea in 1997 for what was then a British record fee for a defender. There he won the League Cup, Cup Winners' Cup, and UEFA Super Cup, before finishing his career with Southampton, retiring in 2005 after over 400 senior appearances. In 2012, He briefly came out of retirement to sign for non-league side Wembley FC, as part of a wave of ex-professionals signed through a promotional campaign with Budweiser in an attempt to get the club to play at Wembley Stadium via the FA Cup. However, this was unsuccessful, and they were knocked out in the preliminary rounds by Uxbridge. Post-retirement, he made a seamless transition into broadcasting, becoming a regular pundit. He has worked for the BBC and NBC Sports. Outside footballing circles, he occasionally presented the BBC's business show Working Lunch, and also appeared as a contestant on ITV reality show Dancing on Ice. Colin Hendry was the beating heart of Blackburn's defence during their title-winning campaign, a fearless old-school centre-back who threw himself into every header and tackle like it was life or death. He was ever-present, playing 38 league games. Hendry had rejoined Blackburn from Manchester City in 1991 and quickly became a fan favourite. His no-nonsense style was the perfect anchor for a title-challenging side, and his leadership was vital throughout that dramatic campaign. Following the title win, Hendry remained at Rovers until 1998, before joining Rangers, where he added a Scottish treble to his honours list. He later had spells at Coventry City, Bolton Wanderers, Preston North End, and Blackpool, before retiring in 2003. Internationally, Hendry captained Scotland, earning 51 caps and leading them out at Euro '96 and the 1998 World Cup, including that memorable opener against Brazil in Paris. After retiring, he went into management, with spells at Blackpool and Clyde, though his coaching career never quite hit the same heights. Off the pitch, Hendry faced personal tragedy with the death of his wife Denise in 2009, an event that deeply affected him and led to a quieter period away from the spotlight. In more recent years, Hendry has made media appearances and been involved in charity matches and events connected to both Blackburn and Scotland. He remains a cult hero at Ewood Park. Erik Berg was the cool-headed operator at the heart of Blackburn's defence. The perfect foil to the thunderous Colin Hendry. Signed from Lillestrøm in 1993, the Norwegian defender played 41 league games in the season, quietly becoming one of the most reliable players in the title-winning side. Smart, composed, and positionally excellent, Berg's ability to read the game allowed others to go to war while he tidied up. He wasn't flashy, but he rarely put a foot wrong, exactly what Kenny Dalglish needed in that back line. In 1997, Berg moved to Manchester United, where he made history by becoming the first player to win the Premier League with 2 different clubs. He added 2 more league titles and an FA Cup to his collection and was part of United's treble-winning squad in 1999, though he didn't feature in the Champions League final. Berg returned to Blackburn for a second spell in 2000 and helped them win promotion back to the Premier League. He then lifted the League Cup in 2002 under Graeme Lasso, before eventually going on to retire with Rangers in 2004. Internationally, Berg made 100 appearances for Norway, playing in USA '94, France '98, and Euro 2000. After hanging up his boots, Berg turned to management, beginning in Norway with Lillestrøm, before a short-lived stint as Blackburn Rovers manager in 2012, lasting just 57 turbulent days under the Venky's ownership. Since then, Berg has rebuilt his reputation abroad, winning the league with Omonia Nicosia in Cyprus, and managing in Poland with Legia Warsaw, and in Hungary with Videoton, earning praise for his calm, tactical approach. He is currently back in Cyprus with Omonia Nicosia. Ian Pearce was just 20 years old during Blackburn's title-winning season, but already looked like a seasoned pro. Tall, strong, and composed, he played 28 league games that year, often filling in when either Hendry or Berg was out, and played his part in one of the Premier League's most dramatic title races. Signed from Chelsea in 1993, Pearce was seen as one of England's most promising young defenders, and became the youngest English player at the time to win a Premier League medal. His versatility also allowed him to play at full-back or in midfield when needed. He stayed at Blackburn until 1997 before moving to West Ham United, where he spent 7 years. Though highly rated, his time at Upton Park was hampered by a serious knee injury that sidelined him for nearly 2 full seasons. Pearce later joined Fulham in 2004, where he had another injury-hit spell over 4 seasons, as well as a brief loan at Southampton before moving to non-league side Oxford District in 2008. In 2009, he became Chris Sutton's assistant manager at Lincoln City. and shortly afterwards signed on as a player, making a handful of appearances before leaving with Sutton in 2010. He later returned to playing in non-league football for both Kingstonian and Lingfield. After hanging up his boots, Pearce stepped into recruitment and scouting. He worked behind the scenes at Brighton and Hove Albion, helping the club build towards Premier League promotion. He is now head of recruitment at West Bromwich Albion, playing a key role in shaping their transfer strategy and squad planning. Tim Sherwood was the man who wore the armband and lifted the Premier League trophy on that historic afternoon at Anfield in 1995. As club captain, he made 38 league appearances during the season, dictating the tempo in midfield and providing leadership through consistency and composure. Signed from Norwich City in 1992, Sherwood became the anchor of Kenny Dalglish's midfield, a natural leader who wasn't flashy but always effective. His positioning, work rate, and ability to keep Blackburn ticking were vital in balancing the attacking flair around him. He stayed at Rovers until 1999 before moving to Tottenham Hotspur, where he continued to play a key role in midfield. He later had shorter spells at Portsmouth and Coventry City, retiring in 2005. After his playing days, Sherwood went into coaching, eventually becoming Tottenham manager in 2013. Though his stint was short-lived, he's credited with giving Harry Kane his big break. He later took over at Aston Villa, guiding them to an FA Cup final in 2015 and avoiding relegation, though he was sacked the following season. Since then, Sherwood has become a regular voice in the media, working as a TV pundit on Sky Sports, BT Sport, and other outlets. He also briefly held an advisory role at Swindon Town. Stuart Ripley was Blackburn's tireless right-winger during their title-winning season, a hard-working wideman who brought balance and graft to a team full of firepower. He made 37 league appearances that year, offering width, tracking back diligently, and linking up smartly with the SAS front line. Signed from Middlesbrough in 1992, Ripley became a key part of Kenny Dalglish's system. He wasn't a headline grabber, but his consistency and engine were hugely important in grinding out results during tight, high-pressure matches. Ripley remained at Ewood Park until 1998, then moved to Southampton, where he was a bit-part player and was loaned out to Barnsley and Sheffield Wednesday, eventually retiring in 2002. But it's after football that Ripley's story really stands out. He went back to education, earning a law degree and becoming a qualified solicitor specializing in sports and media law. He also worked with the FA on disciplinary and regulatory cases and served as a sports law lecturer at the University of Central Lancashire. Despite leaving the sport, his son, goalkeeper Connor Ripley, is an EFL veteran, currently with Swindon Town. Paul Warhurst was Blackburn's Swiss Army knife, a utility man capable of playing in defence, midfield, or even up front in emergencies. During the title-winning campaign, he made 27 league appearances, stepping in when needed and giving Kenny Dalglish vital depth across the pitch. Warhurst had arrived at Ewood Park from Sheffield Wednesday, where he famously converted from centre-back to striker during an injury crisis, and went on a remarkable scoring run that earned him an England call-up, though he never won a full cap. At Blackburn, he returned to a defensive and midfield role, where his athleticism and adaptability made him a valuable squad player, even if injuries limited his long-term impact. He left Rovers in 1997 and continued in the Premier League for the next 6 years, turning out for Crystal Palace and Bolton Wanderers. After leaving the Reebok Stadium in 2003, he embarked on a journeyman stint, and in the final 4 seasons of his career he played for Stoke City, Chesterfield, Barnsley, Carlisle United, Grimsby Town, Blackpool, Forest Green Rovers, Wrexham, Barnet, and finally Northwich Victoria before retiring. He was appointed Victoria's caretaker manager in 2007, however he left the club after several games and never returned to the sport after that. Warhurst has kept a low profile, largely staying out of the spotlight and the media scene. He has worked away from the sport, although he has occasionally been present at fan events and reunions celebrating Blackburn's golden era. Jason Wilcox was Blackburn's trusted man on the left flank, energetic, tidy in possession, and always willing to put in the hard yards. During the title-winning season, he made 27 league appearances, cementing his place as one of the most reliable performers in the squad. A homegrown player, Wilcox came through the ranks at Ewood Park and played a key role in Blackburn's rise through the divisions. He wasn't the flashiest winger, but he was dependable, always ready to deliver a cross, track back or link play with the ever-dangerous SAS strike force. Wilcox remained at Blackburn until 1999 before moving to Leeds United, where he helped David O'Leary's young side reach the Champions League semi-finals in 2001. He later played for Leicester City and Blackpool before retiring in 2006. After hanging up his boots, Wilcox stepped away from the limelight initially, but returned to the game with a clear purpose. He began working in youth development, and eventually became academy director at Manchester City, where he helped oversee the development of talents like Phil Foden and Cole Palmer. In 2023, Wilcox was appointed director of football at Southampton, and as of 2025, he became Manchester United's technical director, playing a major role in reshaping the club's structure and long-term planning in the middle of a turbulent time for the Red Devils. Robbie Slater might not be the first name fans recall from Blackburn's title-winning squad, but the Australian midfielder played a solid supporting role in a side full of stars. He made 18 league appearances that season, usually as a squad option off the bench, providing energy and industry in midfield when called upon. Signed from Lens in France in 1994, Slater brought a continental touch to Ewood Park and became the first Australian to win the Premier League title. While not a regular starter, his work rate and professionalism made him a valuable part of Dalglish's rotation during that tense campaign. Later that summer, Slater moved to West Ham United before moving again to Southampton the following season. After 2 years at the Dell, he had a brief spell with Wolverhampton Wanderers before returning to Australia in 1998, finishing his playing days with Northern Spirit and eventually retiring in 2001. Post-retirement, Slater became a prominent football pundit and commentator in Australia, working with Fox Sports and appearing regularly on league coverage and international fixtures. Known for his straight-talking style and firm opinions, he's one of the most recognisable voices in Aussie football media. He also authored an autobiography, sharing stories from his time in England and reflecting on what it was like to be part of the Premier League's early boom years. Mark Atkins was Blackburn's ultimate squad man, versatile, reliable, and a key figure in the club's rise to the Premier League. In the title-winning season, he made 34 league appearances, filling in across midfield and even at right back when required. He might not have been a headline act, but his contributions were vital over the long haul. Atkins had joined Rovers from Derby County in 1988 and saw it all, from second division battles to Premier League glory. After the title win, he moved on to Wolverhampton Wanderers, where he remained for 3 seasons, before dropping down the leagues. He took in spells at Doncaster Rovers, Hull City, Shrewsbury Town, and Harrogate Town, eventually winding down his playing career in non-league football in 2003. But his story didn't end there. Atkins, who had already managed both Doncaster and Shrewsbury in caretaker capacities, transitioned into management, becoming best known for his long stint at non-league club Matlock Town, where he served as assistant manager and then manager between 2008 and 2014. A decade later, he rejoined Matlock again, but his second tenure only lasted a bundle of months. As of 2025, he currently works for BBC Radio Lancashire as a co-commentator. Mike Newell played a supporting role in Blackburn's title-winning season, making 12 league appearances as the backup to the legendary Shearer-Sutton partnership. Though his minutes were limited, he had been a key part of Rovers' rise in the years prior, famously scoring the club's first-ever Premier League goal in 1992. A clever technical forward, Newell joined Blackburn in 1991 from Everton and helped lead the line before the arrival of the big-money strikers. His contribution to the club's ascent from Division 2 to Premier League champions is often underrated. After leaving Rovers in 1996, Newell played for Birmingham City, West Ham United, Bradford City, Aberdeen, Crewe Alexandra, Doncaster Rovers and Blackpool, retiring in 2001. But it was his managerial career that drew headlines, for better and worse. He took over at Luton Town in 2003 and led them to promotion to the Championship, earning praise for his straight-talking, no-nonsense approach. However, his time at Kenilworth Road ended in controversy. Newell publicly alleged that bribes were being paid to agents and club officials during transfer deals, prompting an internal investigation and creating friction behind the scenes. He was sacked in 2007 after criticising the chairman. He went on to have a spell as Hartlepool United manager, and in 2008, he was appointed manager of Grimsby Town, but his spell there was also troubled. Several players later claimed that Newell actively participated in the club's drinking culture, which clashed with attempts to instill professionalism. He was dismissed in 2009 after a poor run of form, with the club in the relegation zone. Since then, Newell has not returned to frontline management and has largely stepped out of the football spotlight, with only occasional appearances in coaching or assistant roles at lower levels. He's worked for Accrington Stanley, Wrexham, Waterford, and Saudi Arabian side Al Shabab in some capacity. When Blackburn broke the British transfer record in 1994 to sign Chris Sutton from Norwich City for £5 million, they were making a statement, and Sutton delivered. Partnering Alan Shearer up front, the pair quickly became known as the SAS, terrorising defences and forming one of the most iconic strike duos in Premier League history. Sutton scored 15 league goals in the title-winning campaign, playing a key role in helping Rovers over the line. Tall, strong and technically underrated, he was the perfect foil for Shearer. Unselfish, hard-working, and capable of both creating and finishing. He stayed at Blackburn until 1999, but after Shearer's departure, his own form dipped and injuries set in. He moved to Chelsea, where things never quite clicked, before reviving his career at Celtic, becoming a legend in Glasgow. At Celtic, Sutton won 4 Scottish League titles, several cups, and played a massive role under Martin O'Neill, striking up a formidable partnership with Henrik Larsson. He later had brief spells at Birmingham City and Aston Villa, before retiring in 2007 due to an eye injury. In 2009, he had a brief managerial stint with Lincoln City, but since then has focused on broadcasting and advocacy, including raising awareness for issues around concussions in football, something he's spoken about passionately due to his father Mike Sutton's dementia diagnosis. He did briefly turn out for non-league side Wrexham in 2012. Post-retirement, Sutton has become one of the game's most outspoken voices, a regular pundit on BBC 5 Live, Match of the Day, and BT Sport, known for his blunt, sometimes confrontational analysis and strong opinions. He's also written columns and appeared frequently in Scottish football media. Alan Shearer was the spearhead of Blackburn's title charge, a relentless, ruthless goal machine at the peak of his powers. In that triumphant season, he bagged an astonishing 34 Premier League goals, winning the Golden Boot and firing Rovers to their first top-flight title in 81 years. Signed from Southampton in 1992 for a British record £3.6 million, Shearer became the focal point of Kenny Dalglish's revolution. His partnership with Chris Sutton, the SAS, became the stuff of legend. Powerful, clinical, and totally unshakable under pressure, Shearer was the man for the big moments. He stayed at Ewood Park until 1996, scoring 112 goals in 138 league games, before joining boyhood club Newcastle United for a world record £15 million. Despite never winning silverware with the Magpies, he became a club legend, netting 206 goals to become Newcastle's all-time top scorer. Internationally, Shearer won 63 caps for England, scoring 30 goals, and captained his country at Euro 2000. He was the top scorer at Euro 96, where England reached the semi-finals, and is widely regarded as one of the best strikers England has ever produced. He retired in 2006, and briefly managed Newcastle in 2009, but left following the club's relegation. Since then has become one of the most recognisable voices in football, a mainstay on Match of the Day. Shearer is known for his clear analysis and honest opinions, and was inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame as part of its inaugural class. Moving on to the players who played less than 10 games, a solid, experienced goalkeeper, Bobby Mims had actually been Rovers' first choice before the arrival of Flowers. In the title-winning season he made just 3 league appearances, but played an important role in training and as a reliable deputy. After leaving Blackburn in 1996, Mims went on to feature for Crystal Palace, Preston North End, Rotherham United, York City and Mansfield Town before retiring in 2001. Post-retirement, he became a respected goalkeeping coach, working back at Blackburn, Wolves and West Ham, as well as with national teams like Bahrain and Bangladesh. He is currently the head coach of the Fiji under-20s team. Fellow stopper, Australian keeper Frank Talia, was the young third-choice stopper in the squad. He didn't feature in any league matches that season, nor did he ever make a senior appearance. After leaving Rovers, Talia went on to have a respectable career in the Football League, playing for the likes of Swindon Town, Wycombe Wanderers, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Sheffield United and Reading, as well as in Belgium with Royal Antwerp. He eventually returned to Australia and has worked as a youth-focused goalkeeping coach. A teenage Shay Given was part of the title-winning squad, learning his trade as the fourth-choice keeper. Although he didn't make a league appearance that year, he was highly rated behind the scenes and considered one of the brightest young goalkeeping prospects in the country. He would go on to prove it. After leaving Rovers, Given became a Premier League mainstay, most famously with Newcastle United, where he made over 450 appearances across 12 seasons. He later played for Manchester City, Aston Villa and Stoke City, finishing with over 130 caps for the Republic of Ireland, including appearances at Euro 2012 and the 2002 World Cup. Since retiring, Given has moved into coaching and punditry, working briefly for Derby County as a goalkeeping coach but mainly appearing regularly on TV for TNT Sports. Jeff Kenner joined Blackburn midway through the season from Southampton, and slotted in as dependable cover at right back. He made 9 league appearances, narrowly missing the 10-game threshold for a medal, but played his part in the run-in when called upon. He stayed at Rovers until 2001, enjoying regular football in the following seasons, before later spells at Birmingham City, Derby County, and Kidderminster Harriers. Post-retirement, Kenner moved into coaching and had stints as manager of Galway United and St Patrick's Athletic, before stepping away from frontline football. He's since worked in education and youth coaching in Florida. Utility player Nicky Marker was part of Blackburn's squad but missed the entire campaign due to injury. A combative defender and midfielder who joined from Plymouth Argyle in 1992, he was known for his toughness and ability to fill in across the back four. After Rovers, Marker played for Sheffield United, Cheltenham Town, and had spells in non-league with Tiverton Town before retiring. Post-playing, he managed non-league Ivybridge Town in 2011, and has been involved in coaching at grassroots level and resides in Devon. Fullback Alan Wright was another player who failed to make an appearance in the title-winning season, but he was part of the wider squad at Ewood Park. Known for being one of the shortest players in Premier League history at just 5'4", he still possessed excellent pace and a great left foot. Wright moved on to Aston Villa before the season finished, where he went on to make over 250 appearances and enjoyed a lengthy Premier League career, including an FA Cup final appearance in 2000. His latter years saw spells at Middlesbrough, Sheffield United, Derby County, Leeds United, Cardiff City, Doncaster Rovers, Nottingham Forest, Cheltenham Town, and Fleetwood Town. After retirement, he went into coaching and management, including time in charge at Northwich Victoria and Southport, and assistant roles at non-league level. He then worked for Manchester City as an academy coach, before leaving the role in 2024. Big centre-half Andy Morrison made just one appearance, before being sold to Blackpool midway through the season. Known for his physicality and leadership qualities, he moved on in search of regular football, and eventually found cult hero status at Manchester City, where he captained the club out of the third tier, and was part of their team that returned to the Premier League the following year. He also turned out for Crystal Palace and Sheffield United, before injury sadly forced his retirement early, but he's gone on to enjoy real success in coaching. Morrison managed Connah's Quay Nomads in Wales and the Sri Lanka national team, as well as working for Manchester City as an ambassador throughout. The final defender in the squad was Richard Brown. He failed to make an appearance for Blackburn during the title-winning campaign. A young defender who came through the Sheffield Wednesday ranks, Brown found first-team opportunities limited, and eventually moved to Stockport County midway through the season. Sadly, after one game for County, his career ended early due to injury. He reportedly now works at Salford Leisure Centre. Lee Makel failed to play a game that season, although he was described as a creative midfielder with a cultured left foot. Makel moved on to find more game time and ended up enjoying a well-travelled career. After leaving Ewood Park, he played for Huddersfield Town, Hearts, Portsmouth, Bradford City, Livingston, Plymouth Argyle, Dunfermline Athletic, East Fife and Cowdenbeath. After retiring, he stayed in the game as a coach, working as a player coach at Östersunds in Sweden. He has since coached back in Scotland at the Hibs Academy. Legendary midfielder David Batty brought bite and control to Blackburn's midfield. although he only made 5 league appearances before injury ended his campaign early. Batty began his career at Leeds United, where he won the old First Division title in 1992. He joined Blackburn Rovers in 1993, then moved to Newcastle United in 1996, where he was part of Kevin Keegan's famous Entertainers side. He returned to Leeds in 1998, finishing his career there in 2004. Internationally, Batty won 42 caps for England and featured in the 1998 World Cup, where he was one of the unfortunate penalty takers in the shootout against Argentina, his last appearance for his country. What's most intriguing is what came next, or rather, what didn't. Teammates have often said he didn't enjoy football, and since retirement, Batty has completely vanished from the public eye. No punditry, no coaching, no interviews. He's believed to live a quiet life in Yorkshire with his family, but beyond that, there's little to go on. David Batty remains one of football's most enduring enigmas, a household name who disappeared without a trace. A surprise arrival in the second half of the season, Richard Witschger joined Blackburn on loan from Bordeaux in early 1995. A technically gifted Dutch international who had previously played for Ajax and Barcelona, Witschger brought flair and pedigree, but only made 1 league appearance as Rovers powered toward the title, having not fit into the club's system. He insulted the people of Blackburn on his departure, and in turn was regarded as a flop. He went on to have a second spell at Ajax, and later played in Spain with Alaves. Witschger earned 31 caps for the Netherlands, playing at Euro '96, and remained a respected figure back home. After retiring, he returned to Ajax as a coach, taking on roles with their youth academy. Scottish striker Kevin Gallagher was a vital squad player, even though injury limited him to just 1 league appearance that season. A quick, intelligent forward, he had been signed from Coventry City in 1993 and offered depth and experience behind the Shearer Sutton front line. After recovering from injury, Gallagher stayed at Ewood Park until 1999 and went on to have a fine Premier League career with Newcastle United. He went on to play for Preston North End, Sheffield Wednesday, and Huddersfield Town before retiring in 2002. On the international stage, he was a key player for Scotland, earning 53 caps and scoring 9 goals, including a memorable brace against Austria that helped send the Scots to the 1998 World Cup. Since retiring, Gallagher has remained close to the game as a pundit and commentator, particularly covering Scotland and Premier League football for BBC, Sky Sports, and Radio 5 Live. Still sharp and passionate, he's become a trusted voice in the media. Young striker Peter Thorne did not make a league appearance during the title-winning campaign. He was very much a developing player at the time, and soon moved on in search of regular football. Thorne went on to enjoy a strong Football League career, particularly known for his goal-scoring spells at Swindon Town, Stoke City and Cardiff City. At Stoke, he scored over 50 goals in 3 seasons and became a fan favourite. He also featured for Norwich City and Bradford City before retiring in 2010. After football, Thorne kept a lower profile but did briefly coach at Norwich's academy. Moving on to the coaching stars, Kenny Dalglish was the architect of Blackburn's incredible rise, taking the club from the second tier to Premier League champions in just 4 years. Appointed in 1991 with Jack Walker's backing, Dalglish built a team capable of challenging the elite and delivered the title. In 1994-95, becoming the first manager to win the Premier League, with a club outside the established big guns. After winning the league, Dalglish moved upstairs into a director of football role, with Ray Harford stepping up as manager. He later had spells in charge of Newcastle United, but it was his emotional return to Liverpool in 2011, where he'd previously been a player-manager icon, that brought his career full circle, leading them to a League Cup win before stepping down. Dalglish has since been knighted for his services to football and charity and remains a towering figure in the game, still closely associated with Liverpool, where he serves as an ambassador. Ray Harford was the tactical brain behind the scenes at Blackburn, Dalglish's trusted assistant, and the man credited with organising the team's shape and structure. When Dalglish moved upstairs after the title win, Harford took over as manager for the 1995-96 season. However, life after the title was tough. Rovers never quite hit the same heights, and Harford resigned midway through the following season. He later managed West Bromwich Albion and Queen's Park Rangers, before settling into coaching and assistant roles at clubs including Millwall and Luton Town. Highly respected across English football, Harford sadly passed away in 2003 after a battle with cancer. Many players from that era regard him as one of the finest coaches they ever worked under, a quiet genius who preferred the training pitch to the spotlight. Tony Parkes was Blackburn's first-team coach, and one of the club's longest-serving and most loyal figures. He had already been with Rovers for over a decade by the time they lifted the Premier League trophy, and would remain on the coaching staff through multiple eras. Parkes became known as the go-to caretaker manager, holding the fort no fewer than 6 times at Ewood Park, stepping in whenever there was a sacking or transition. He was widely respected for his calm head and steady hand. After leaving Blackburn, he had spells at Blackpool, again serving as caretaker and assistant, and helped them gain promotion to the Championship in 2007. Sadly, in 2020, it was revealed that Parkes had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and his family have since spoken publicly about the toll it's taken.